Hi, it's Lucy here, and today I'm sharing 11 card ideas, most of them made with Uniquely Creative's Heart and Soul kit. And here's a quick look at all the new items for this month. The kits are already sold out, but you can still buy everything individually. The papers can be purchased as singles or as a full pack, and they even come in a handy 6x6 card making size too. And in case you haven't heard of Uniquely Creative before, they're a family-owned Australian company. I've been on their design team for over 5 years, and they have some of the most beautiful papers I've ever seen. I also have great news for my overseas friends. I found a stockist in the US. They don't have this collection yet, but they do stock about 300 uniquely creative items, and at the moment they offer free shipping on orders over $49. I'm not sure how long that's for. I'll have a link to their store in the description box below. And there's going to be plenty of tips and ideas along the way in this video, so hopefully this gives you lots of inspiration to use with your own stash. I also used this month's printable sentiment sheet I created for my channel members. And these sentiments can be used as circles or trimmed into squares and rectangles if you don't have circle dies, and I'll show you both options. This month's sentiment sheet is really versatile. Each sentiment has a light circle around it, which makes it easy to die cut with circle dies. And the circles I've made large enough that you can choose different sizes to cut it out. You can cut close to the sentiment or leave plenty of white space around it. And if you don't have circle dies, that's no problem. You can simply cut around the printed circles, or even turn them into rectangles or squares using the circle as a guide. As I mentioned before, I'll show you exactly how I do that when I make two cards using them this way. And to start, I'll roughly cut the circles out of the sheet. You could die cut the whole sheet at once, but I find I get a cleaner cut when the sheet is separated. And I'm using my A4 9-inch die cutting machine, which lets me cut most of the circles in one go. And this is a Viva die cutting machine, and I searched the internet after breaking a machine a while back and found these were the most affordable by far than other brands, and it works really well. I also have this 6-inch machine which I use most of the time. I'll have links to both in the description box as they have warehouses around the world, and so shipping is super fast and free. I'm also going to die cut a few extra circles to use as borders, and these are usually slightly larger than the sentiment circles and can really help my cards to pop. For one of my cards, I wanted a more masculine look, so I'm using a different paper collection, and this one's available both at the US stockist and directly from Uniquely Creative. I'm going to make some thicker circles for this card since they'll be a main feature, turning the paper circles into more of an embellishment. And so to add some dimension, I'll die cut a few extra circles from scrap cardboard packaging to layer underneath. It's a great way to recycle while also giving the card a bit of lift and interest. We'll get back to this card shortly. We'll start on some feminine ones first. I've already added a piece of pattern paper to cover the card front, and I've placed some of the circles on it already. I also added a square under the sentiment circle to help it stand out. And to give the circles a bit more pizzazz, I used a distressing tool on the edges, but you can achieve the same effect with scissors if you like. And next I'm adding a floral paper embellishment. I love these ephemera packs because they don't have any white borders, so there's no fussy cutting needed. I myself love fussy cutting, but I know some of you don't. I will, however, trim a leaf here and there if it's getting in the way of the sentiment, and I can always add it somewhere else on the card at the end. And to give the flower cluster a bit of life, I'm gently bending the edges of the petals and leaves using a clean lollipop stick, giving them a rounded dimensional appearance. I won't be doing this on all the cards today because these flowers look beautiful flat as well. I usually bend flowers that have a realistic look, but these have a watercolor style, so they work great either way. I'm popping the cluster onto the card using foam tape and adding a few extra flowers here and there. And although the card is basically finished now, I still felt like it needed something else. So I later added some white doodling on the green circles. I'll show you that here, but you may notice it's not on the card when I share them all at the end of the video. This next card looks so layered and pretty, but it actually came together really quickly. I die cut a piece of the pastel paper slightly smaller than the card front and added a pink cardstock border. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know I do this quite a bit and I normally show it, so I haven't shown the process here. We've got lots to create, so I'm focusing mostly on the decorating today. I'm adding layers of flowers around the sentiment. I used one layer of foam tape under the flowers and some more under the sentiment. So there are 2 layers of flowers with the sentiment in between. I even glued down a flat leaf piece, which gives a 3rd layer look as well. It looks so pretty, but that little dot from the circle die was bothering me, so a quick fix is to cover it with a rhinestone, and 1 rhinestone alone would look a bit odd, so I'm adding 3 to finish the card off. And I've since been able to fix the circle die so I won't get that little dot in the future. Now it's time to make a masculine card, and I'll die cut a piece from this really interesting design to create my background. Isn't it gorgeous? It really adds so much interest, and maybe some of you might have thought a 12 by 12 sheet like this could only be used for a scrapbooking layout. So hopefully this gives you a fresh idea for using your large papers in a different way. And you saw I already die cut some paper circles earlier in the video, and I layered them up with the cardboard scrap circles underneath for extra dimension. And then to give them more interest, I've inked around the edges, including extra on the sentiment circle. This is vintage photo ink colour. It's a distress oxide. And a little tip is you can also print your sentiments on designer paper, which can look really great too, but just make sure the paper isn't too dark or busy, otherwise the sentiments might not stand out so much. I've added all the circles to the card along with a few matching embellishments from the same collection. And I'll finish it off with a strip sentiment on foam tape and a bit of doodling around the circles with a black pen. And just like that, this card is finished too. Next, if you don't have circle dies or aren't confident cutting circles by hand, you can still use these sentiments in a different way. Here's how I've done it here. I've lined up the first cut at the bottom of the sentiment, just past the circle lines on each side, and then trim the top of the sentiment so it's even with the bottom. And finally, connect the cuts on each side, cutting from one circle line to the other. And this way you still follow the shape of the circle, but turn it into a neat rectangle or square instead. And once it's cut, if you want to trim it down further, you definitely can. And if it ends up a little bit wonky, that's totally fine. Just create a card design that suits a wonky sentiment. I didn't need my cuts to be perfect for these cards, and they still turned out great either way. And while I'm putting these 2 cards together, they're pretty self-explanatory. I wanted to quickly chat about my channel membership. I often get questions about the printable sentiment sheets I use, like the one in today's video. And these are something I design each month just for my channel members. I know some people get a little confused about what that means. Subscribing to my channel is completely free, and that's how you'll see all my videos, but becoming a member is just an optional paid extra for those who like to support my channel a little more. It's $6 Australian per month, which works out to be about $4 US, and it really helps me keep creating these videos and printables. And in return, members get some nice perks like monthly sentiment sheets, early access to new videos, priority replies to comments and questions, exclusive polls, and a fun set of badges and emojis to use in the comments. All my videos will always stay free to watch, so there's no pressure at all. It's just a lovely way to support the channel if you'd like to. YouTube doesn't pay that much per views. And you can click the join button below this video to find out more. It won't automatically sign you up. It just shows what's included, and you can choose to join from there if you'd like to. And if you didn't want to become a member but you really like these sentiment sheets, you can easily create them yourself at home as well. The fonts that I use I will have listed and linked in the description box below. So if you're interested in any of these fonts, they are from Creative Fabrica, and they do have some free fonts, and then you can pay for others, or you can pay for a yearly subscription like I do. I think it's about $47 a year, and you get access to literally millions of fonts and images. And the great thing is they're all licensed for commercial use. So if you want to use them on your cards or anything else you sell or share, you don't have to worry about getting into any copyright trouble. It's the only place that I download my fonts and images from now. How easy and gorgeous is this card? And you can leave it like this, or I'll just add a bit of gold scribble around the sentiment. But it was so easy to put it together. I love this designer paper so much. Striped papers are one of my favorites as well, so I've added one of them to the background of this card, and I've also added the sentiment along with its border, which happens to match the background stripes perfectly. And just like before, I'll trim off any flowers or leaves that don't quite fit around the sentiment, and then add the pieces with foam tape. I'll tuck the leaves that I cut off back in elsewhere so nothing goes to waste, and I'll finish the card with a few rhinestones for a little extra sparkle. This next card looks a little more intricate, but it's actually really simple to put together. I die cut a piece of pink designer paper, then trimmed a bit off the sides so I could add a large scalloped border. You might remember this border die set from the start of the video. And once that's in place, I'll trim off any overhanging pieces and glue down a strip of silver glitter paper to cover the seam where the two pieces meet. Then I'll add some pattern paper behind the Polaroid frame and overlap the sentiment circle slightly on top. And to finish it off, I'll arrange some flowers around the sentiment using foam tape again to add a bit of height. I think that the silver glitter strip just gives it such a lovely little finishing touch. Just the right amount of sparkle without taking away from the soft look of the pastels. What do you think? I'm making a square card this time, and I've laid a silver glitter circle on top of a vellum circle. Then I'll add the sentiment with a little border, popping it up with foam tape for some dimension. I actually thought I'd glued the background floral paper on a bit crooked. It was really bugging me while I was editing and watching this. And then I remembered when I brought the card up to the camera for a close-up, it actually flew off. So I was relieved to realize it wasn't as wonky as I thought it was after all. And I've finished this one off with 2 blue flower clusters and a couple of leaves, and that's it. Nice and simple. If you wanted to dress it up a little more, I think silver pearls would look lovely in the flower centers. I couldn't help but try out this black polka dot washi tape. It even has a scalloped edge, which I just love. I'm adding it to both sides of this pastel paper for a bit of contrast. I did accidentally stick the pattern paper on upside down though. It's so annoying. I bet we've all done that at some point. Luckily, once the card's finished, you'd never know. I'm using some card scraps from the sentiment sheet to add a bit of height behind the circle, and this scallop circle die is a really old one. I'm not even sure where it came from, so I won't have that one listed below. I'll finish this off with a few flowers. And what do you think of the pastel with black? I've got another card to show at the end that also has black accents. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on these cards. I'm actually creating 11 cards on video, but I also have another 4 that I'll be sharing with you that I created as part of my design team assignment on these. So I didn't create them on video, but they're just some new ideas as well. This is another really quick card. You could definitely dress it up a bit more if you wanted to by distressing the paper edges or adding some doodling around the borders or popping on a few pearls for a soft, elegant touch. Before we finish up, I also wanted to share an extra few cards with you. This one is a center step card I made using Uniquely Creative's new stepper card dies from last month. These make creating fun fold cards super easy. They include the main die to cut the card shape, plus all the insert and add-on pieces that you need. I've also used one of the scalloped rectangle dies on this card. That's from the set I showed right at the start of the video. Let me know if you'd like me to do a video on the stepper cards because I would love to. And here's 3 more cards I made using this same paper collection. What do you think of the pastel colour combination? I'd love to know if you prefer working with bold colours or softer pastels like these. I'm not sure which I prefer. I love both. Did you have a favourite card or technique from today's video? Let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing your thoughts and what your favourites are. I hope you enjoyed these ideas and found a few that you'd like to try. If you're one of my channel members, don't forget to download this month's sentiment sheet. And if you're not a member yet, you can join anytime to get instant access to all the printable sheets. Or if you'd like to create your own using the same fonts I've used, you'll find the links to those below in the description box. I'll quickly show on screen how to open the description box in a moment if you're not sure where to find it. And all the products that I've used today, apart from the scalloped square circle, are listed there too. Some of them are affiliate links, which means I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, and it really helps support my channel. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps more people to find my tutorials as well, and you won't miss out on new videos. I want to send hugs and thank yous to Kaya, Susan and Sin for supporting my channel recently using either the super thanks button or the buy me a coffee link. It's so thoughtful of you all. So much appreciated. And thank you so much for watching, especially if you stayed with me throughout the video. It was a fairly long one today. I'll have QR codes for links you may be interested in. If you're watching on your TV, they'll be coming up shortly. And I also have Pinterest boards and an Instagram page where you can find most of my cards. I'll be adding these and more to them next week. I hope it's inspired you to get crafting, and I'll be back with a new video soon. And if you're looking for more inspiration and ideas, here's another video on screen now that you might like to watch next. Until next time, happy crafting and bye for now.